Welcome to the Todd DeVoe Show, exploring the best ideas and lessons for leaders.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Hey, I am doing a special episode today, and I want to highlight one of the other programs that we have on the Emergency Management Network, and it is called Leaders Cafe. And there we are bringing, leaders from across the world as well. But only place that you can find it is on the Emergency Management Network's Substack. And so go down here in the show notes. You'll find the link. Go to the Substack, and you'll see how you can join the Emergency Management Network community and get involved with what we're doing over there. All the cool things that are happening. We have a whole bunch of different authors and ideas that are being shared in the realm of emergency management leadership, thought leadership, philosophy of emergency management, and more. I'm really excited to really be part of this organization that we've created. You can go over there and you'll see people like Kelly McKinney, Mark Baker, that are writing, as well as a few others that are out there that are putting information out. Randy Collins, for instance, writes there as well. So really excited to have the Emergency Management Network up and running. So, hey, everybody, enjoy this episode of Leaders Cafe. I think you'll get a lot out of it. I know I did. And we'll hope to see you next week. Until then, stay safe, stay hydrated. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are coming from. And, every year, we have, the New Year's resolutions and stuff like this, right? Well, I started my New Year's resolution a little bit before New Year started. And it came down to the fact that I was doing some work and my legs and my back were killing me after being up standing for a bit. And I was talking to my wife. I said, I got to lose weight. I got to get in shape. I said, this is just ridiculous. I was an athlete before and, played rugby and all this kind of stuff. And I said, I just can't believe I let myself go. And right when that occurred, my wife goes, hey, I saw this ad about a gym that's close to me. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go check it out. And I did. And so I am on my way to getting healthy and getting better. But I started thinking about what it really means and how it actually improves not just your mental health, your physical health, but your mental health and your ability to think clearly during crisis. And when we're in the crisis mode for emergencies and disasters, we have to be at our peak. And Snaz here says, hey, she's great. And I'm going to bring her into the stream here and she's going to get me healthy. And that's what the plan is. And it's working already. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
So, oh man. So yeah, working out. It's working. I tell you, the other day, my legs were screaming at me, telling me not to do it anymore. And then I went back in and worked out again, and my legs said, "Okay, you won." So I appreciate the workout for sure.
I know. I remember you walking in and you were just holding your legs the whole time.
So yeah. I think squats really hurt that bad, but they do. So why is it truly? We'll go through the journey here in a second, but I just want to get this big question out of the way: is why is the physical health really help you out with your mental health and then the ability to have clear decision-making processes?
So a lot of the time people will go for like that dopamine rush. Really, essentially, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a dopamine hit, and we might want that through other kind of substances that aren't so good for us. But one of the ones that is good for us is something like exercise. That's why when you finish your session, you always feel better about yourself. So these dopamine hits are actually what changes your mental concept, changes your clarity, changes everything. So a lot of the time people will go and do a workout, and just the way that they've actually rewired their brain It allows them to think a lot clearer. And not only that, but we hold a lot of tension in our bodies, right? Like all the time, we're always holding stress, we're holding tension, we're holding on to things that don't necessarily serve us. So when we go and do a workout, what happens is we actually get the ability to release that tension. So it's almost like we're getting rid of whatever it is that's bothering us and we're holding it in our bodies. There are so many aspects and different areas of our bodies that we hold on to things. So many people hold on to a lot of stress in their hips. So when they go into the gym and they start moving their body around and they might be doing a lot more hip dominant movements, they'll find like they feel like they're looser, like they have the capacity to move better. And then when they leave feeling better about themselves. And, it's almost just like that feeling of accomplishment where you start to go, hey, I just did something that was beneficial for my heart, my health, my family, my friends. Like you're actually doing something that's going to take you to another level, rather than what if you did the opposite and you didn't go to the gym, you just stayed at home, you just stayed in wherever you are in the same mental attitude that you had. That's really where so many people lose the capacity or lose the opportunity to actually shift their headspace, because a lot of it's all headspace driven, right? We hold tension in our body because we tell ourselves to do that.
Right.
And we're stressed because we tell ourselves that we're stressed. But if you go to the gym, you're essentially going to the gym to get rid of that stress. You're going through these workouts to bring you more clarity in your thoughts and in your headspace, in what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And then you're going to then be able to make better decisions moving forward. So that's really why a lot of people should and do work out.
So in the field of emergency management, and disaster response, we go from 0 to 100 miles an hour like that. We could be sitting here at the desk and all of a sudden we have a large scale earthquake and we're out running. Right? Storms are coming in. We know they're coming in, but yet, as soon as they hit, just like Northern California just had just recently with all the floods and everything, going through the process. And they're long hours, right? You're working 12 to 15 hours. You're eating like crap. It's caffeine and sugar that's fueling you during this time of crisis. So as we talk about preparing communities for disasters, we really have to prepare ourselves for those as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we work with a lot of law enforcement, right? Firefighters, police officers, anyone that has to have that kind of fight or flight response has to have the capacity to basically get up and go, right? You have to have the capacity to get up and go. And even for just an everyday person, if your house catches fire, you need to be able to get off your couch pretty quickly, get everything that is important to you, your valuables, and leave. What people don't realize is that fitness helps you be as best prepared for these things, like anything that could go wrong. Even if someone in your household has a heart attack, do you have the capacity to lift them up, put them in the car, and drive to the hospital as fast as you can? What if you don't have 10 minutes to spare waiting for emergency services to come to you? Like, that's why fitness is so important, because you have to be able to help others. You have to be able to serve whatever it is that happens, because you just don't know. Like, you can be prepared for everything and anything. And if you are physically capable, imagine how much more prepared you would be, and imagine how much less stressful it is knowing that if something ever happens, you have the capability to do what you need to do in that instance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like one of those things that we talk about, and we talk about first responder preparedness or physical preparedness, right? And the ability to be able to do this. And one of the things that we've seen over the years is on the fitness side, as obviously it's letting us live longer, but two, is like, with first responders, and especially those that go from 0 to 100 miles an hour, like we talk about, is that stress on your heart, and heart attacks were a big problem with first responders and emergency managers. So on the other side of it too, though, is like just the movement, right? Like we, for the most part, a lot of emergency managers, we live in the sedentary lifestyle, sitting at a desk, writing, doing computer stuff. Well, why is it critical to do well, let me rephrase this, because I used to go to the gym, right? Like to the traditional 24-hour fitness, whatever. And you go through and might have like an app that shows you, say, hey, okay, do, a bunch of bulky weights and do this and do a bunch of squats with a bunch of heavy weight on. But like the stuff that we're doing at your gym is a lot more functional. Why is functional exercise better than just the traditional throwing weights around?
Yeah, I love this question. Way back when exercise kind of was created, and we're talking a long time ago when they were basically lifting stones as their weight, they weren't doing bicep curls. They weren't doing, the simple stuff, the isolation stuff. They were figuring out how to get something heavy that was on the ground and stand up with it. So things like a deadlift, for example. They were doing things that they needed as many muscle groups to help them do what they need to do, because they found that you're so much stronger when you incorporate different areas of your body. So in other words, the reason why functional movement is so much more profound than isolation is because functional movement we do in every single day life. And this goes all the way back to, I remember working with a client, and he had a baby, and the baby was at the point where the baby could walk around a little, crawl around. And so the baby was crawling, and he had to get down because the baby had thrown something underneath the couch or something, and he had to go down to pick it up. And as he went down, he blew out his back. And it's like, you shouldn't be blowing out your back just picking up something off the floor, but that is how most people hurt themselves. They actually don't have the capabilities just to, reach down to grab something, because they don't train functional movement. What we don't realize is that we stand and sit every single day. You're sitting right now, right? Every single time we sit on a couch, we sit on the toilet, we go and sit in our car, we're squatting. We don't realize that, but we're squatting. So why not go and train that movement and practice it and make it better, so that every time you do it every single day, multiple times, if not like sometimes hundreds of times, why wouldn't you go and strengthen that and ensure that you're doing it correctly, so that when you go and do it, there's not really any, like, your risk of injuries far less than anyone else. And to tap onto that, most people, when they get to their later years in life, when they're a bit more elderly, most people have their falls, right? And their falls are the reasons why they essentially, break a hip or whatever happens. And it's a lot of it is because they never really trained functional movement. Now, walking backwards is a functional movement. No one trains it because everyone's always so forward focused. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we try to focus on, and we do, is we train functional movement so that we can take whatever we do in the gym, apply it to outside life, and make people literally just have a better, long-lasting longevity, throughout the entire life, with their family, with their kids, with everyone, So that's really what we want to do, so that functional movement is going to be so much more long-lasting and way more effective than, say someone that's just going to come in and just following an app and just doing what, a few sets and reps of things.
So for me, what I found with the advantage was going with you guys is like I told you, I said straight up, I was like, look, I need to lose weight, and I freaking haven't worked out in a long time. And instead of you just going, okay, here's a bunch of stuff to do, you guys took time to like really find out what my movement was, like how correcting any bad posture I have in the workout and making sure I'm doing things safe and not going to hurt myself during the workout. Is that why it's critical when you're starting off again, or even if you've been doing it for a bit, to have somebody who's like a personal trainer that can really help you through getting back into shape?
Yes. So even people that are still working out, having a coach essentially changes the game for you, because they're going to look at what you're good at, what you're bad at, and then they're going to put you on the best pathway to get the results you're looking for. So if you're looking for a strength, or it doesn't matter what you're looking for, even if you're looking for like, I just want to prevent any future injuries, the coach that you go with, they should be able to put you on the right path to avoid that. So, it's very easy to get, especially you yourself, you used to be an athlete. So you already have that in your mind. You already know what it takes. You've been there. Your body has felt it once before. And a lot of the time people go, well, I was an athlete once before. And that kind of like competitive mindset is so easy to turn back on. We don't realize that. We're like, we come back to the gym and we're like, oh yeah, I used to be able to squat like 400 pounds. Like I should be able to do like at least 250 today, even though you haven't done a squat in like 3 years. That would not be the right kind of approach to it. So the trainer or the coach that you're working with, they need to know, okay, where are you today? Yes, we know where you've been, but where are you today? Where are you trying to go? And let's kind of keep you away from the plan that's not working, because your plan is obviously not working. Keep you away from that plan and let's put you on the right path. Any coach should be able to do that for you. and keep you going down the route that's going to be the most effective for you today, not who you used to be. Because a lot of the time we come into this comparison world of who we used to be, or maybe who we are with. And that is like the worst. That's like the recipe for disaster. You got to just go with you versus you. And that's today, like present tense, and moving forward into like your future self of who you want to be. So we focus on that. Yes, we're going to still incorporate like, hey, like you are capable of whatever you used to be capable of. You are still capable of that, but that's not today. And that's not what we're looking at or focusing on. So a lot of the time people come in, they're like, oh, I used to be able to do this and I used to be able to do that. I just want to go back to my fit self. And I said, okay, well, how about we do this? How about we go back to your fit self and some, so you're never that person again, but you're better than that person instead.
Yeah, the thing that kills me is a picture of me will come across on Facebook or whatever from friends posting from back in the day. And I'm like, oh my God, I used to be. And I guess the idea is getting back to that used to be, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you're right though. I mean, like that's the one thing too, is like having the coach knowing you're pushing you, one, you know, to go through, like knowing that you're better than you are. That's one aspect of it. But the other side of it too is also not allowing you to do something stupid to hurt yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And I was joking with a friend of mine and that like, I'm like, oh my gosh, the workout, and I put this in air quotes, the workout that I'm doing today would have been like as a warm up for other people. But yeah, I'm going through there and I'm like gassed, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, so I had to get, and I was telling my coach this morning, I said, I feel like I've been pre-K trying to get to kindergarten just so I can do like the workout with the rest of the big kids, you know?
Yeah.
So, but having her here as and my coach, she's awesome. To motivate me is great. And the other thing too is the accountability, because I was telling my wife this today when I got back from the gym. I said, you know, I almost, you know, this was cold out, you know, got up kind of grumpy, you know, I almost didn't want to go to the gym, but I have an accountability partner there in the coach, because number one, I don't want to let her down, you know, and calling her up saying, hey, I'm not going to come in. Money aside, you know, that's besides the point. It's I don't want to let her down, you know, and so now I have that accountability of going, okay, I got to make my appointment because I have somebody there that's waiting for me. And so I think that's, for me, that's a motivation factor. Does that work well for others as well? Or is that just my own mental game?
No, it's a big one, you know, and you'll probably find that even like the really good coaches will text you the day before, check in with you, see how you're doing, right? Make sure you're set for tomorrow. They'll make sure that they're asking you about what you're doing outside of the gym, because that's really important. We're not just going to, you know, and like, this is the thing, like we focus on not just being your 30 minutes or your 1 hour once or twice a week. We're trying to be a part of your journey moving forward outside of that as well. Like, you know, if you're just like, I'm going away this weekend, I need to like maybe do something, keep my body moving, like that's where the coach will hold you accountable even there. But the accountability is huge, because how many, you know, I actually had a client last week. She said, I really didn't want to come in today. I was really hoping that you were going to text me and say that for whatever reason you couldn't come to this session. I was like, I don't know if I've ever done that in my entire career. And I've been doing this for 17 years and you will never hear me do that. So like, you know, that's a huge component. So like the fact that she still showed up was exactly what you experienced as well, because we just feel like, hold on, well, like they're pouring into us, the coaches pouring into us. Why can't we pour back into ourselves as well? It's not that you're pouring into the coach, but you're actually pouring back into yourself, and you're allowing someone to be like, hey, we're not canceling here. We're doing this full throttle. And you start to commit more to you the more you keep coming in, and the more you allow that accountability to actually hold you accountable. You're allowing that accountability to then uphold your commitment to what you initially started, you know?
Yeah. She keeps asking me about my nutrition and what I'm eating. And I had to cop to her today because I went out with my son for just to kind of hang out, do dad, son thing. And we went to In-N-Out, right? And so she's like, okay, what exactly did you eat? Like, okay, did you eat a shake? No, I didn't have a shake. Okay, good. Did you have fries? No, I didn't have fries. I just had the burger. Okay. So she's like, all right, now you got to eat like this now because now you're behind. And so she like, lays it out there, and in a good positive way, right? It wasn't shameful. Like, oh, you should eat In-N-Out. It was like, okay, you did it. Okay, now I'll do this to make it better. And I think that's great. By the way, for those that don't know, In-N-Out, it is probably like the best burger in the world, just to let you know. So, But yeah, I
California
mean,
only, right? I think it's
was
only
that
I think In-N-Out is only in California.
California, Arizona, Nevada, I guess. But yeah, it's the West Coast thing.
There you go.
Um, but yeah, but the point about it is like, it's, yeah, you're accountable for that, right? And you want to make sure that you're reporting properly, and you're taking those steps forward for the nutrition. I know nutrition's a huge part, and I want to get into nutrition a little bit here now, since we brought out the bad burger. So like, how much does really nutrition play into your goals of not just weight loss, but overall health?
I would say it's about 80 to 90% of you, right? Like, you are what you eat. Everybody, if anyone's heard that line, it really is 100% true. So in other words, if you're a fit looking person, you've probably got some muscle, lean muscle, things like that. You probably eat quite well. So you are what you eat. If you're the opposite, then you also are what you eat. So it's a massive component, right? Huge component to really your overall health and wellness. So when we talk about getting ourselves to a healthy position, we think of it like, if you think of it like a gas tank, right? You've got your empty and you've got your full. And your empty is actually sickness, and your medium is when you're actually at wellness, and your full is when you're at fitness. So we're trying to move the needle. And the only way we can move the needle is if we fuel ourselves with better nutrition. Yes, the workouts are very important. And I don't want to ever take away from the fitness component, because fitness is actually not just workouts. Fitness is also nutrition. So, you'll do the workouts and you'll move your body. So you're getting yourself kind of like towards the line. But what's going to really drive you over the line and move the needle is going to be like bringing nutrition into it. And, sleep is just as much important to that as well. But I want to kind of stay with nutrition, because nutrition really ultimately is going to lead you in the direction that you're trying to go. Because how many people go to the gym and they don't get results? They're still going to the gym, they're still doing the same stuff, but they actually look the same. And that's because they leave the gym and they stop at In-N-Out on the way home, and then they have their burger or whatever. Or maybe they go to the gym to try and offset, right? How many people are like, oh, I only go to the gym so I can eat poorly later.
Right.
But I've heard that. And there's actually a lot of athletes that even do that. So there's a lot of people that just take advantage of using fitness, thinking that they're actually going to be okay or whatever, but it's not. It doesn't work like that. So nutrition is so important. Like, what you put into your body matters. Whether or not you're putting so much like processed foods, that's not going to help your body function properly. Because at the end of the day, our bodies have our organs in it, and our organs really require proper nutrition to operate properly. If you are not serving yourself the right nutrients, then how can you expect your heart to operate properly? How can you expect your lungs to function the way that you want them to? You'll go into workouts more tired if you're not treating yourself by putting the right stuff in your mouth. You'll finish workouts way more sore. You'll recover way longer. It'll take you so long to recover by not fueling your body correctly. So a lot of the time people are like, oh, I'm sore, it's been a week. And I'm like, what have you been eating? Like, right. That matters just as much. And if you think about athletes, like true athletes really know how to fuel themselves. So food is 100% fuel, and you are what you eat. And so like, it really does kind of come back to that concept right there.
Absolutely. And that's, that's the part that I think, again, accountability, with the coach holding you accountable for that aspect of it. And I now log my food, and just let you know, this morning, my breakfast, I just had berries today, so I didn't eat anything bad, and I'm going to be clean today completely, because I did poorly yesterday. Just one poor meat. So real quick, we're coming here to the end. How do people find you? And I know the email or the your website's right here. How do people find you? How do they get in touch with you? And obviously, so you're in Southern California, but you do more than just SoCal, because you have a pretty decent, comprehensive website.
Yes. So if anyone is ever in Orange County, you can always find me in Brea. The gym that I own is in Brea. It's called Osletics. So you can always find me there. You can always check in on our website, but to find basically the best hub you can go to is going to be snajv.com. I actually do a lot of things. I work with a lot of people in different countries. I've worked with clients back in Australia. I've worked with clients also around here, all around America, actually. It's not just here. So I do a lot of virtual coaching. I do a lot of coaching online and in person, bit of everything. So those are probably the best places to find me. I do a lot of speaking stuff. I love kind of like talking about fitness, wellness, health overall. So yeah, snajv.com, or you can find me on Instagram, which is the same thing, just at snajv.
Absolutely. And, I'm so thank you. And first of all, I want to thank you for helping me out personally, and getting on my journey. I'm down 10 pounds, so I'm pretty excited about that. I got about 40, 50 more to go, to be where I'm actually healthy. And I do appreciate everything that you do for everybody. And we'll do this again soon. And everything is awesome. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much for spending time with me this morning. And realistically, the health and fitness is really important. And, like I said, I know I'm a little bit rotund. I need to get my weight down for the health for myself, for my family, and also so I can continue to do my job for you. So, everybody, until next week, everybody stay safe, stay hydrated, and get healthy.